Scott from Medium, a psychic, and we're going to be hanging out doing some fun stuff like learning about your mediumship and psychic abilities. If that's something that you're interested in and you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and come hang out with us. This is live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for our fans and super fans, and available to everybody on the rewatch. As you come in, let me know where you're from and how's the weather. Those are the things that I like to know. And I always ask about them. Why? Because it's fun to know where you're from and what the weather's like there. It's cold, wet, and rainy here in New Jersey. It snowed yesterday, and now it's just cold, wet, and rainy, which is no good. Hi, Francis Rose. Nice to see you there. Snowing in Connecticut. Nice. It's just a little bit rainy here in Jersey, as I was saying, which is nice. Hi from Connecticut. What's up? Alice, how are you? Ellie Mae, nice to see you there. Come on in. It is time for our weekly good time. Dawn Michelle, what's up? Barbara, how are you? Jerry, hello. These are all of our fans and super fans coming in the live chat. We have Michelle coming in. Just Dora. Tracy is here. Marcy and Noah. What's up from South Carolina? I see you there. Cold and rainy here too. Oof, no good for anybody on the East Coast. Started to snow in Boston. All right, Lavina. Be safe out there. Tiffany says, Virginia, rainy here too, suffering with the flu. Oh no, feel better. It's going around. It's getting everybody. Tina, hello. Amanda, hello. Barb, the weather is kind of ew. Yeah, that's about right. In Buffalo. Isn't it always snowing? It could be like 80 degrees in Buffalo. It's snowing. Lori, what's up? Nice to see you there. JW and Sylvia. Michelle, what's up? VL Heron, nice to see you there. Hi, snow-covered southern Ontario. Nice to see you there from Canada. I hope you're doing well. Kelly, what's up? Nice to see you there. In Nebraska, we've had snow all day, 9 whole degrees. Whew, that is chilly. Too chilly for me, that's for sure. Amaya's here. What's up? Lousy March weather. Yeah, I agree with that. Diane says, hello. Hi, what's up? Nice to see you there. Amy TV Arts in the house. Barbara says, snowing here. Finally got our furnace fixed after 8 days. Ooh, I hope that you are warming up finally. Hey, Shelly, what's up? Nice to see you there from Montreal. Star says, from Montreal and getting ready for 25 to 40 centimeters of snow. In American, I imagine that's about this much. I need a tape measure or a metric conversion system. Sorry, guys. When you talk centimeters to me, you lose me. Renee, what's up? You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not too keen on inches either. I don't know. What's up from Tennessee? How are you doing, Renee Hawkins? AI Harker, 2.5 centimeters is an inch. So 20 inches of snow. I was about right. I said about this much. I think that's probably about 20 inches, give or take. I don't know. Again, who knows? That's not what this is about anyway. Hey from Alabama, nice to see you there. So if it's your first time tuning in, maybe you got a notification, maybe you didn't. That's okay, because what I'm going to tell you to do is if you didn't get a notification, do yourself a favor. Write in your phone alarm, put 9 p.m., whatever time it is right now for you. So if it's 4 p.m. or 7 or 10, whatever it is, whatever time it is, make sure you put an alarm for that on the hour. And remind yourself that on Wednesdays, we do this for you guys. It's only for our fans and super fans when it's live, right? So this is where we hang out, and I talk to you a bit about mediumship, psychic development, and those sorts of things, how to make yourself better at it, how to understand it, and how to understand it in very easy to understand ways, right? PJ says, I'm here. What's up, PJ? Nice to see you there. Lori says, hey, Scotty, it's snowing. Welcome. Hi, Liliana. Nice to see you there. Penny, welcome in from Missouri. Destiny, hello. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. So who's been enjoying these classes so far? If you've been enjoying these, if you've attended some before, let me know in the comments if you like this stuff. Hi, Amanda. Nice to see you there. Spirit Sponge in the house. What's up, Spirit Sponge? How are you? Beverly, what's up? Lori. Andrew says, me. Spirit Sponge, your grandma yet? Did we get there yet? Francis Rose, what's up? Michelle, what's up? You like them? Good. Destiny says, love these. Barb, excellent. Jerry says, love them. Star says, love them. Marcy, enjoying them. Excellent. You've liked the help. Okay. So for people watching on the replay, if you haven't yet, you can become a super fan or a fan just by clicking the first link in the description down here, and you can hang out with all of us when we do this live 9 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. It's a pretty nice time. Good crowd shows up, and we have a nice time talking about mediumship and psychic development. Still cooking. He's got 7 weeks and counting, a baby. Excellent. All right. So what kind of question? First up, let's start with this. Who here watched the first video, the one that I recorded, and has a mediumship or psychic journal that you've been writing in every week or every day or daily or when things happen, you've taken my advice and you got yourself a pen and notebook specifically for you, and you've started writing things, and you're like, okay, I'm going to write some stuff down. And Scott says that the difference between saying I knew that and I knew that is writing things down. Who's been doing that? Don't they have to be a fan to be on here now? Yes, but so when they're done, they can watch. So on the replay, it's for everybody. So I let them know that if they want to be here live, they can become a fan and super fan, like all of you amazing people. I've been keeping track of my dreams. Excellent. I watch, but not journaling yet. It's time to start journaling, Brenda. It's important. It's very important. So I think on last Friday or last Saturday night, maybe, I was live with Dalen, and we were hanging out, and he was live with me, and I saw something when I was doing readings, and I drew it, and I said, hey, I think there's something to do with this in the cemetery that you were in. Maybe you can confirm that. And I drew it. And then one of his fans went back to a video of his, and they found a really big statue that looked very similar to this shape. And they said, yeah, there it is. You can even see you have like the big circle under it and the lines, and it's all swoopy and weird. And that is the thing I drew. And if you want to go see the thing, the actual sculpture, I can show it to you. But the difference between I kind of know what this looks like and kind of describing it and drawing it or writing things down about it is being able to go back to it and be like, look, this is what I said. This is what I meant. This is how it looked, or how it felt, or what it seemed like at the time. And I wrote those things down. And then when they appear, they come up as evidence for you. You can show people like, look, here it is right here in black and white or blue and white or whatever you wrote in, and say like, look, I have the proof of what I was talking about. It helps not only make your whoever feel better that you're trying to show that you're doing this, but it'll build your own confidence. And that is the most important thing when it comes to all this. So when you are learning how to do the mediumship and the psychic development stuff, your confidence is very important. And and we'll go over this, the drawing was pretty neat, right? So what the difference between confidence, and let's talk about this because this is important, and I don't think enough people talk about this. The difference between confidence and ego, okay? So I've seen mediums and psychics be pretty good, but their confidence was very egotistic, and there's a way that we need to pull those things apart. So here's how I try to explain folks confidence in this stuff. Okay, you ready? So confidence is me closing my eyes and seeing a strange shape and drawing it out. Not very well. I'm not an artist, but confidence is knowing that I'm going to draw this out, and in a pretty specific way, somebody's going to be able to say, I recognize that, and then bring it. Oh, thanks, Lori. Thanks for the super. That's magical. Thank you. So confidence is me knowing that I can draw this and somebody's going to figure it out, and they're going to be like, okay, I know what that is. And the confidence came from me drawing 100 things out in the last 6 months, and 90% of them, the person I drew it for was like, oh yeah, that's a lamp, that's a cigarette lighter, that's it's this, that, and that, the other object that's important because of X, Y, and Z. So when I drew this, it was me being confident that they would be able to find something pretty specific to match this. Now, the ego part of it was separated because I didn't say anything like, you will go back there and find this exactly. And if they were like, no, you didn't, you couldn't have seen, how can I put this? We don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense. And you're not going to be able to prove to us that that is the thing, right? And this is just an example. So when you let your ego drive in that situation, I might get really upset and offended that they don't understand this particular thing. And I might get angry and be like, no, you'll definitely find, like, this is for sure something that I know 100% that you'll find and it's accurate. And then you become resentful of them not understanding the information you're coming through. So what happens is your ego overrides the situation and you don't get to the bottom of the mystery. So instead of becoming angry or upset that somebody's not understanding what you're saying and let your ego jump in control and push you to be kind of a little bit nasty or heady about it. What we want to do is take a step back and say, okay, I can say with confidence, without putting my ego in this, that the last 500 things I've drawn, 498 of those things were very close to something important. So I can say with confidence that you'll find something that looks similar to this in a very specific kind of way attached to what we're talking about, right? And what we want to do is make sure that we don't push anybody, because what happens is, say it's something really personal where I'll give you all a story to kind of understand this. I was doing a reading for a woman over the phone. This is before I was Zooming and interneting and all these other things. I was doing a reading just over the phone, and we didn't have a wall phone. I was probably on speakerphone, but I'm gonna mime it like this, okay? So we had the we had the phone, and I was like, okay, so your mom XYZ, all this stuff, and the lady that I was on the phone with was like, yeah, that's my mom for sure. And I was like, okay, this other thing is that your mom keeps showing me a bottle, and I don't know what to make of the bottle, but it's important. And she keeps, and I drew a bottle. It's just the shape of a bottle. It's not even that, it's not impressive, but I knew what it was. And I said, I don't know what's the deal with the bottle, but it seems to be special. And the lady's like, well, you know, you got everything else right, but I don't understand what the bottle could possibly mean. It doesn't seem important to me. And I said, okay, well, you know, she's just showing it to me, and hopefully you'll understand what it is. I took the ego out and I said, okay, put the bottle away. Not worried about it, because the other things I said were right. Okay. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Had I let my ego be like, no, you should definitely understand this bottle. You think really good and hard right now about, and putting that, getting defensive and putting that person into being uncomfortable with me because I'm letting my ego railroad them. And maybe she would have been like, oh yeah, you know what? My mom broke a bottle when I was a little kid, and it got all over the floor, and it was very traumatic. That might have been what we pushed the message to be, when that's truly not what it was. Several months later, I'm talking like this reading was like in the winter, and then in July, I get a message, and this woman said, hey, do you remember me? She sent me a picture of my notes, and she said, you did this reading for me on the phone. You sent me this message. Here's the picture of the bottle. I'm going to tell you what the bottle meant. And this is where it came in really handy, because she didn't know about the bottle. She truly didn't. She was at a barbecue with her sisters and her dad, okay? And they were talking about mom and his wife who had passed. And dad got emotional. He said, you know what, I'll be right back. And he disappears into the house, down into the basement. And he comes back up out of the basement, and he's got his toolbox. And he plops his toolbox down on the table. And the woman is watching, and she says, then my dad does the next craziest thing. He opens up the toolbox and pulls out this like cloth, and then he takes the cloth off of a bottle, and it's a bottle of like Maduri liqueur, like melon liqueur. And he says, okay, he holds up the bottle in front of his girls, the sisters, and he says, this was your mom's bottle. I saved this bottle for 20 years. I know we've been talking about her a lot today, and I think that we should toast her with her favorite bottle of alcohol. And the woman said that she was blown away because she didn't know her mom ever drank. And I mean, really, liqueur is not really a drink. It's just, yeah, maybe it is for some people. But she was like, and we didn't know the bottle existed. We didn't know my dad had saved my mom's particular bottle of alcohol for 20 years. And we all did a shot from it. So the bottle was important, but it was not something she knew about yet. And it was revealed to her, and it was really special. And what happened was, because I did my job and didn't put my ego into it, that bottle became very important right then in that moment, because she knew that that bottle was something that I couldn't have known about because she didn't know about it. So this makes the bottle important because her mom knew about it. Her mom knew that her husband saved that bottle, and that this toast was going to come, and it was going to mean so much more. And she said that she felt so much more connected because of that. So what's important to do when you're doing any of this is, no matter how accurate or right you always are, just keep your ego out of it, because it's going to make the reading so much better. And that's also where keeping notes is really important, because if anybody here's ever had a personal reading with me, I take a ton of notes, and when it's one-on-one, I try to write pretty nicely. And I will say things all the time. I'll be like, your Uncle Bob had a flat bottom boat. He loved fishing when he lived in Florida. And the person says, no, my Uncle Bob didn't live in Florida, nor did he love fishing or have a boat. And then 2 days later, hey, this is Mitch. I had a reading with you two days ago. As a matter of fact, I talked to my mom, my uncle's brother, and he lived in Florida for about a year and a half of his life, and he owned a flat bottom fishing boat that he absolutely loved. So you were right. So even though we couldn't prove it in the moment, that it's not important to prove it in the moment, or prove anything. What is important to do is to make that connection with those people on the other side, bring them through in a meaningful way, help connect as much as you can when you can, but then also let the rest of the information flow without making it fit or pushing it to be in place. Because this is important, because those things aren't for us as the reader to understand. It's for the client to understand, and it may not be for them to understand right now. Okay. So yeah, first note, keep notes, right? That's good. I like that. Nobody's late. If anybody says that they're getting fuzzy, my internet is working really good. We got it all fixed up and nice. So there's no problem. My Jen says, hey, Amy, sorry I'm on my phone. I can't tag anybody. What's up? So let's see. I'm filling my notebook. Excellent. Yes. First note, keep notes. Yeah. So definitely the internet's really good. We had it. It's all fixed up. So everybody knows. Yeah, I couldn't do a live yesterday. We're having an issue with the internet. But it's all repaired now. We're all good. So let's talk more about this. So putting our ego aside. I made a video a long time ago. I don't know if it still exists here on YouTube or not. I may have taken it down because I was getting a lot of negative Nancy comments on it. But I said that it's okay to be wrong when you're doing readings, and it's okay to be wrong. And this is the rationale behind that. Okay, and this is important. This is another point of stepping away from your ego that you need to understand. Number one, if this was science. If this was a scientific act, we could repeat it perfectly, note for note, every single time. Okay, just like a guitar solo. You could show the notes. We could do it over and over again, or like putting a chair together. Here's the blueprint. Put the chair together. We could all probably do that to some degree. Mediumship isn't like that. Mediumship is a very human ability, and there's no instructions for it. You have to figure out how it works for yourself, and then you have to understand the world around you. Now, I think a week or two ago, we talked about coming into everything with zero judgment, and that's part of this. Zero judgment also means your ego is away, right? So when I say that it's okay to be wrong when you're doing a reading, what that really means is you're probably not wrong. You're probably just not understanding. And this isn't a cop-out, because this happens time to time. And I use this example a lot. This is a soda can. Okay. Now I'm going to do something very specific. Hi, Dolores. Thank you so much for the super. I'm going to say thank you for that. I give you a hearty heart. And then I'm going to give you a magical. Thank you so much, Dolores. So this is a soda can, right? You guys know I drink too much Pepsi. I got told today again. But it keeps moving. Anyway, this is a soda can. Okay. You all know this is a soda can. I want you to pay attention to the way I'm holding it too. Okay. Now, a long time ago, I was doing a reading, and I kept seeing a close-up of an object. We'll say it was a soda can, and what was happening was the way the person was holding said object, and I was like, I wasn't paying attention to the whole picture. I was focused on the soda can for some reason, the object that the hand was holding. And when I kept talking about the can, or why it might be important, it was actually a guitar, and the way I was seeing it was a close-up of the strings and everything in the hand. And what I was talking about with this person was, I was like, I don't know, maybe they're a guitar player. Like, and Lee's like, no, none of this makes any sense. And I was like, okay. And I was wrong about it. But then later, after the reading was done, I really thought about it, and I went back to her and I was like, hey, this is kind of bothering me, but is there something about this person's hand that's important? And she was like, oh, well, the person I think you were talking to. And I was like, they were like missing a finger maybe? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's so strange, because when I saw the object, the guitar, I saw the hand too in the way. And when I was thinking about it, it looked like not the way a hand should look. and I thought it might be something like a deformed hand or a missing finger or something. She's like, yeah, my uncle had a missing finger. So he never played the guitar, but he was doing his best to bring me to a familiar object, but I wasn't focused on the right thing. So I was wrong about the guitar for sure. But when I gave it further thought and I really thought about what I was looking at here, I noticed that there was something going on there. And I said, oh, it's the hand is what he was showing me. So it's okay to be wrong. Is the symbol a square with a black dot? I'm asking because there's a lot of them. A symbol. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, Michelle Lynn. I have my, if you're talking about here, it's lasers. Hey, what's up, Monty's World? How are you? Nice to see everybody. Welcome. Reading is only as good as the connection to the other side. Yep. Oh, the Luminate thing. Yes, that's what it is. It's a circle with a square. Is there a difference between a Ouija board and a pendulum board? Yep. Good go, Michelle. Yeah, so not really. The mode is the same if you want to talk about that kind of stuff. Outward tools are really interesting for mediumship, but I tell everybody the best I can, don't rely on tools because they are a barrier between you and the real messages that want to come through. So when people see me do my videos and we have the ghost box working, you have to understand that if I'm using something visual, it's because we're doing something visual. If I were to go to every location and just talk about the things that I was perceiving, you might think that that was pretty cool, but you would get bored pretty quick because there was nothing visual happening. There was nothing stimulating your mind to bring you into the story and help you feel like you were there. So when I don't have it at the desk right now, of course, but when I take out my SB7 spirit box and I'm like, hey, is there anybody here? And you can see the box and you hear that this other thing is making noise. It's helping you come into the story. If I take out, we'll use this as for my buddy Anna. If I take out a pendulum, which this is not, but we'll pretend. So if I take out a pendulum and I'm like, okay, is there anybody here? Yes or no? And then it does its yes or its no. Then that's for you guys. It's not for me. Same thing with the Ouija board or anything else that I might use as a physical tool, because once you're, and this is no ego in there. This is just because I understand that this part of it is entertainment. When we're talking and I'm bringing you somewhere and we have to tell you a story, I need to have those things. But for you learning, I'd say use less. Yeah, a lot of people have that problem there, Kat. Jackie says, I love my pendulum. And again, there's nothing wrong with those things, with those physical medium things to use. I'm just saying that if you're developing, people will tend to lean on them like a crutch because, and just think about this, right? If you are using a pendulum or a Ouija board as your main way to communicate, that's fine. But then you also end up with the fact that there's another thing in the way that's fallible. There's another thing in the way that people are going to be like, that's not real. It's inaccurate. They don't work like that. You're pushing it. You're moving it. X, Y, and Z. It's working off radio waves. But when you're completely quiet in a space that you know nothing about with a person you've never met, and you put pen to paper and you start writing down details about the fantastic details about a space that you're in that you couldn't know just by looking at, or you sit down with a person and you start writing about somebody that's passed that you don't know nothing about, there's no disputing that you never been to this place, you didn't know that this even existed, and you drew it and then you showed it to somebody and they're like, there's no way you could have known about that. How could it be? How could you have come up with that? There's no tool in the way. The pen was just worked by my hand. It wasn't automatic writing or anything like that. I just did it. So don't put anything in your way as you're starting to do this. So when it comes down to Ouija boards and stuff like that, I saw somebody said my Ouija board isn't Ouijing. There could be something with you and the confidence level that you have as to how it's going to work for you. I can tell you that I personally, if anybody's ever seen me use a Ouija board, I know a couple of you have, that sucker moves, and they move like crazy. But I have sat down with boards before and gotten nothing. It was like as if the planchette turned into a rock and wouldn't move, and it just wouldn't go anywhere. and it would be like, well, I guess this isn't going to work, or there's something wrong with me. It was something that I don't want to know if it was wrong or what was going on, but sometimes that happens. So see, if the board you have isn't working, see if you find a different one. Do you need me to send you more pendulums? No, I have them. They're in a so after my room flooded, I have all of the stuff that people gave me. They're just packed away in boxes, and I'm not quite ready to pull them all out and do the whole room yet because we're still working on some other projects in this joint. So as soon as they come out, I have those, and I have little hooks for them now to put them up so I can hang them nicely. Yeah, I have more coming. Thank you for offering. I appreciate you. By the way, if anybody needs a really nice, beautiful pendulum, you can go to Amy TV Art. She makes them, as well as some other great stuff. Most of my moderators, in some way, shape, or form, make things to do with what we do here. So if you check the Discords, you can see what they make, what they have, what they do for us here in our community, besides be here with us and help moderate our chats. My husband is laughing about South Park pendulums. So I don't know what the South Park one is, but it's probably pretty funny. Those guys are usually right on the nose. I've been using a Ouija board for decades. Perhaps it's a crutch. It's very comfortable though. So imagine that. Okay, so this is what's funny. Okay. I always have this little $5. I have really nice ones, but I always pull this one out because it's so close. So imagine you're getting information as a medium, right? And you're like, okay, let's see, what letters are coming out? D, K, E, A, D. Okay, he's dead. Okay, we got that, right? And then, okay, what's your name? And then it's like maybe it spells out Mike, right? And you're like, okay, Mike, how did you die? And this is slow, right? Imagine if you just closed your eyes and trust your intuition and said, you already know that somebody's deceased, so you don't have to worry about that. And you're like, okay, what's your name? And in your head, they showed you a box of Life cereal. Why would a spirit show you Life cereal when you ask what their name was? What do you think about that? Hi, Cody. Yep, Oracle cards is another one of those things, but that's not the same as mediumship, right? So why, right, Steph, Mikey, right? So you could say, oh, I believe I'm talking to somebody named Mikey, right? Because he showed me this box, and it's a really easy pop reference. So I didn't have to look for the name Mike. You didn't have to write it. I just said, or maybe if you can't see because you have aphantasia, so you can't see with your third eye, maybe you heard the slogan, Mikey likes it, Mikey, right? So that's our psychic flashcards. That's part of it, right? That's part of the psychic flashcards, okay? Star says, I use pendulum for pendulum alchemy, becomes a tool for me to focus physically the energy. Yeah, sure. That's 100% one of those things that we can use. And I'll tell you a time when I used the pendulum and it worked really well on my behalf. So again, I don't look for yes, no answers with pendulums, but what I do, no, don't do that. Don't play nothing. What I often do is, if I'm hitting dead ends and I'm coming up with nothing, it's blank and I don't feel anything and there's no good reason, what I've done before is like, okay, so if I'm invited into a house for actual paranormal activity and nobody tells me what's going on, they're just like, all right, go, Scott. And I walk through a house and I don't pick up anything. I'm not running into any ghost spirits, nothing anomalous. Sometimes what I've done is take out my handy dandy pendulum and walked around the house and waited for it to start spinning. And I've had them literally spin like almost sideways. And that was a good indicator for me to say like, okay, this is where paranormal activity is happening. Now I can focus better on this spot and then have it validated by the person who's experiencing everything. And that works really well. My stepsister and I years ago invited a few people over and had the board set up, a coffee table, a lot of candles that were standing at the front door talking, and oh no, PJ, don't leave us in suspense. Do I scribble like Tyler Henry? Nope. I'd say that 70% of what I write is legible, and when I write for people, it is very legible. So you can see it's backwards for you, but you can see I write because even he's getting recorded, so it doesn't. I mean, we get recorded a lot doing this too, but when it's just you and I on a Zoom reading, or if we're in person doing a reading, nobody's usually recording it. So what we do is this, and I'll tell you something funny too. Um, the writing is also really great because it's really funny what has happened for me in the past is the scribbling is that guy's technique, I guess, of working through the mediumship. For me, writing the actual words, because when I write something, it it reflects back to me like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. I understand the things that I'm writing and what I mean to say. But what's happened before is I've said something like, we'll go back. I'll say something like, I don't know, maybe like a champagne bottle, and I'll draw it, and they'll be like, oh, actually, you know what? It's not a champagne bottle, and that's actually the shape of a bottle that my dad built a ship in, and the ship, is sitting, in our den now. But you drew the exact, like, it's a weird bottle, and you drew it exactly. Like, okay, so sometimes the thing that gets written down is different than what we're saying or expelling verbally. So yeah, I write everything down. Oh, you guys love this Ouija board stuff. We started to get all the candles went out at the same time. The lights came on and off. Yeah, time to go, huh? Yeah. So I don't scribble like Tyler Henry. I write everything down. And plus, what happens if I do a reading today, and 3 weeks from now you come back to me and you're like, "Hey, do you remember what you said? What you wrote here?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I wrote and let's get this flower shop done." What does that mean? Oh boy, that's so crazy. You wrote that. I didn't really understand it, but I literally just got hired to redecorate a flower shop today, right? And then I could say like, "Oh, here it is. It's written," and that's what she was talking about, but we just didn't know it at the time. So that's really important. My dad has one of those ships you just talked about. I think like when you get to a certain age as a man, you build a ship bottle. um, so yeah. Okay, Jen's at the computer now. All right, good job, Jen. How are you? I hope you're having a lovely night. So that's some of the stuff about taking our ego out of mediumship and our psychic work. Now, we've talked about starting at zero and knowing ourselves. So who here has been practicing knowing yourself a little bit better, like waking up in the morning or whenever it is you wake up, and say like, okay, my back and my neck feel good today. My feet are okay. Knee hurts a little bit. Emotionally, I'm pretty good. I'm stable. I feel like I'm in a pretty good mood, and I'm a bit hungry, so I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Right? Who's been taking stock of themselves in the morning? And those who have, how many of you have become more aware of the world around you and how it's affecting you? Let me know about that. Let's see. You're practicing. Good. Bev says, I'm good at that. Excellent. I've been working on it myself a lot. Excellent. Good. Excellent, Dawn. Me. Good, says Diane. Diane says, me. Excellent. That's really good. Working at it, says Barbara. Excellent. One morning started off rough. Woke up and I said, nope, not today. Good. That's a good way to change things around. Morning meditation to get realigned. Very nice. So if you missed that lesson, we'll just briefly touch on it. Basically, one of the ways to understand the way that you're being affected through the day is by knowing yourself when you are waking up or recalibrating during the day. So before I started the live, I took a nice deep breath and I said, okay, I feel pretty good. My neck and my shoulder still hurts a little bit because I'm old and I've got a million injuries. But other than that, I feel good. So while I'm doing readings, anything interjects. I mean, while I'm doing a video, if anything interjects, I know that there's somebody probably trying to talk to me and I can pay attention to that. So that's the point of being at a zero and understanding yourself. I do both. Excellent. I learned that I wake up happy and get grouchy on my way to work. Hey, don't we all, Barb? Yep. So when you do spirit led, do you see the spirit standing around you like Whoopi and Ghost? Can you describe it? Yeah, so it doesn't look like that. It's nothing that dramatic, but basically when I close my eyes and I look for spirit, most of you probably watched the Super Bowl. Imagine looking out into a crowd of people like that. That's how many people are around me all of the time. If I close my eyes and put myself into that spot, that's what I see. And basically what happens is I line all of those people up as best I can. They understand that they should be connecting with people that are watching. So they organize themselves that way from what I can tell. And then I make them kind of go through a turnstile. And then they have to do something to get my attention. And then once they have my attention in some particular way, I see them a lot better. I focus on them a little bit. And then I tell you about what I'm seeing. Yeah. So that's it. Um, Diane says I start by talking to my angels and guides and source. Oh, very nice. It's a good way to do it. So that's the way that I see the spirits and stuff when we are doing our big spirit-led mediumship readings with lots of people watching. When it's just you and I one-on-one, or maybe I'm sitting with you and your family, then the group of people is much smaller. Then maybe it is sort of like Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost, and there's maybe 10 people standing around. But even then, it's not like I physically see them in the room with me. That's not really typically how that works for me. It's more of a perception mentally of where that stuff is coming from. To be honest, all of my focus has been recovering from my surgery. Oh, well, I hope that you are getting better there, Penny. How do you find out who your guides are, says Michelle Lynn. So, Michelle, I used to do readings for people and tell them who their guides were. And that lasted for about a week and a half. And we used to do it live on TikTok. And I thought it was a lot of fun. People really enjoyed it. But then my guides came and yelled at me. And I said, no, you don't do that. You tell them how to do it, but you don't connect them. That's not your job. And I said, oh, okay, you guys don't normally yell at me. And they were like, well, we're not yelling. We're just telling you that it's not, even though you can perceive it, it doesn't mean that you need to go and give them everything. The people who want to meet their guides need to work on it. So for you guys, I'll tell you how to do that. Renee, yeah, absolutely. Renee says, can I ask for some healing prayers from the group, please? Absolutely, Renee. All of our healing prayers are with you. I hope that you're feeling better with whatever it is that's going on. So for our guides, this was the easiest thing. How many here know? Jackie says you told me before you stopped doing it. Whoops. Well, now you know. You know your guide, so that's what happens. So I'll tell you all how to connect. Most of you know who Amy Allen is from the Dead Files, right? If you've ever seen Amy Allen on the Dead Files, you can say me. I met her in person. I asked her a ton of questions, and one of them was about meeting spirit guides. She said, okay, do you meditate? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. She said, okay, just when you next meditate, just close your eyes and ask your guide what their name is. And whatever name comes through, whatever words are mumbled, whatever words are said, that's the name of your guide. And I said, okay. And I went home and I did my meditation. I said, okay, this is particularly because I want to know the name of my main guide and anybody else who might be helping me along. So when I did that, I got my name, and it was crazy because it matched so much stuff that was going on with my life. So if you close your eyes when you're meditating and you're like, I really would like to know my guide's name, and they tell you you hear the name Winston Churchill, hey baby, go with it. That's their name. That's what they want you to call them. For some reason, that's what they've picked, and that's what you're going to call them. That's going to be your guide. So it could be Sam, it could be Dean, it could be Castiel, it could be anything. Mine are not any of those fancy things, but yeah. Hey bro, what's up, Jersey Cowboy? Nice to see you there. My guides want me to work for it. I'm finally getting brief glimpses. So yeah, just listen to the names, and the signs in your life could be very particular about showing you. Your brain won't shut up, huh? I understand how that is. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble. Why does this keep playing? So I know there's a lot of folks with ADHD. I'm one of them. Star says mine is Eirik. Viking's name, that means forever strong. See? And mine is not that, but it means something very particular to me. And that guide is very, very strong. So Bev says my name won't shut up long enough for me to meditate. So This is where you have to go back to active meditation. So, inactive meditation is sitting quietly in a chair or laying down in a bed and trying to get your mind quiet in order to focus and reveal information to you when your mind is chill. But some of us have a mind that isn't chill. Some of us have a mind that is a pain in the neck, to say the least. So, what we want to do is give our mind something else to focus on while we were digging deeper for the information. What I found works wonders is something called binaural tones or binaural beats. If one of the moderators could plop in that word into the screen there, and then somebody can screenshot it if they like, binaural beats or binaural tones. This is music that you put on in headphones and you put it over your ears. For those of you with ADHD and ADD and all those sorts of things, the tones, when you listen to the humming noise, will take your brain on a little ADHD adventure. And in that adventure, you're going to find yourself feeling like you're floating off the planet. You're going to feel yourself becoming very visually, mentally active, your internal dialogue is going to start going actively, but it's going to go into places that you're not familiar with. It's not going to be about your bills or your kids or your cats or your dogs. It's not going to be about the weather. It's not going to be about TV. It's not going to be about politics or religion. Your brain is going to start activating on another plane. And that other plane is a little bit scary at first. We see colors and images that we're not familiar with. We hear sights and sounds. We hear sounds that we're not familiar with. We see other things that we don't understand. So, what happens here is that you need to go into that zone many, many times. And in that zone is where you are going to make the connection with the other side. Okay. And that's important. Sci-fi says, when I meditate, I'm brought to a sitting circle in the woods. It started, I could see the fire in the distance, and every meditation it got closer. So that's interesting because one of my meditation spots was being oddly enough being dropped. You ever see the movie Jumanji, the new ones, where they're dropped into the video game, they hit the ground really hard. Well, years before that movie came out and I was meditating, that's how I get dropped into my meditation spot. I get dropped into the woods. I walk through the woods a little bit. I can smell the earth and I can feel the sunlight and see the sunlight coming through the tree canopy. It brings me out to a little lake beach, and on the lake beach is a little canoe, and over the lake is raining, believe it or not. We get out onto the canoe, and then we paddle out to the middle of this little lake, and in the rain it's somehow sunshiny still, and that's where all my spirit communication happens when I am meditating. So people have a really interesting a way of doing this stuff. So Wanti and Jen both put out the thing. Astral Dreams for iOS and Luminate for iOS and Android. Binaural beats and binaural tones. Yep. We need to go to Tahiti. I can meditate there real good. I bet we all could. Um, so, yeah, a lot of people find themselves going into different places when they want to actively meditate. So, if you have trouble getting your brain to be quiet, you need to give it a distraction, but a distraction that is purposeful. And binaural tones and binaural beats do that. Okay. So that is definitely the way that I recommend doing it. Again, I have pretty bad ADHD and all that kind of crap. So it really can be distracting when you're trying to meditate and focus, and you're unable to make those connections because your brain is racing into other places. But again, this also goes back into that thing what I'm talking about being at a zero, being at a point where you are not thinking of anything except for, okay, right now the only thing that I want to do is connect with those people on the other side and bring through messages. That's what I want. Okay, and there has to be a ritual that goes along with that as well. All right. How do you know you're in your meditative state or just something you're forcing yourself to think about subconsciously? If you have to think about it, then you're not there. That's how. It's like going to sleep without falling asleep. It's kind of difficult sometimes. So, if you are forcing something, you're going to know it because your ego is going to be in charge and it's going to tell you to think about things that you want to think about. So, for instance, if I close my eyes, the things that are at the forefront with my ego awake and my big self talking, I'm worried about work tonight. I am bothered by the fact that it's raining out again and it's going to be cold. And I'm going to be cold and wet all night. And that's what's on the forefront of what I am thinking about. But if I go past that and I start looking around, maybe for some reason with you, Cowboy, I don't know what's going on in your life, but for some reason, as I'm connected with you, I feel like I'm carrying this really long tube with a handle on it, which is kind of a strange shape. So it's like just like a really long tube and it has like a handle. So it looks like a guitar case, but instead of a guitar, it's like this big long tube. I don't know what would be in that or what that means to you, but when I broke past what my crap is for right now, and I just went into that more meditative state, I started seeing this object that feels like you're carrying it or something like that. So I don't know if that has anything to do with you, but it's when I went through that what started to show up in my mind. So it's interesting. I visualize for pain control. I'm allergic to pain meds. Oh my goodness, Brenda, that is terrible. Interestingly enough, when I was a kid, I learned to do the same thing, but not because I was allergic, but being ADHD, I get injured a lot. I walk into, especially when I was young, like I had no fear of my own life. Like I would yeet myself off a 3-story building if I thought somebody would laugh at it. And basically, when you do those sorts of things, you end up in pain a lot. I would often find myself like in pain and saying like, okay, what is pain? What is this? It's a sensation that's letting me know that something wrong. Okay, so I'm not really in pain. Pain is just something I'm experiencing right now. I would logically make it for myself. And I would get around it that way for a little bit in order to manage it. And it could be kind of difficult. You have a few things I could relate to. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is. All I know is that it's this like really long tube that I was seeing. No idea what it is. It kind of reminded me of like a pool cue case, you know? Maybe you would know better. Like it kind of looks like this. It has a handle on the top. I don't know. It's really kind of a plain shape, but it looks just like that, Cowboy. I don't know what that is, but I feel like you were just recently carrying something that looked like this. It's not a briefcase. It's long, like a tube or something like that, but that's kind of what it looked like. And I feel like you may have just been carrying it around. Anyways, that's just breaking through that space where I was like, okay, these are the things that I know I'm worried about, but what's this over here? Right. But you have to learn how to do this enough and you have to just keep practicing. This is like going to the gym and learning to run or learning to build muscle. It's doing it every single day. And then you've been aching to go to the range for some time. Oh, maybe that's your heater. I got you. Um, that's funny. So maybe that's what it is. A case for that particular item. So when it is time to sit down and do these things, basically what I'm trying to teach you is the most basic, easy ways that I learned how to do this, and I can explain it to you so that you can have the most basic, easy way to sit down and do this and not be afraid to do it. So it's again important for you not to worry about. We'll talk about some of the like scarier part of this because I'd like to knock some of that out as well. When it comes to being afraid, because people, this is like the number one thing people say to me, like, I'd really like to give this a shot, but I also don't want to get a negative attachment. Well, I've been doing this for many years now, and I've not had any negative attachments. I've had some experiences I did not care for, but nothing stuck, nothing is here, and nothing is going to because I don't in particular go looking for dark things, and neither will you. But I will tell you this: if you go looking for dark things, yeah, you'll have a problem. They will find you. They will hold on because they will realize that they have something over you, or it has something over you, whatever that or it is. But I don't know because I don't deal with those. When I see them, I let them know like you're not going to bother me. I don't really have any worry over you at all. So don't go looking for negative things and they won't find you. When you're looking to find like grandma or grandpa, uncle, aunt, brother, sister, children, all the like good human living, the spirits that were living human beings, they come through and they don't come through with any nonsense or darkness with them. They might come through with some of their human emotions, some of their human things that you may not agree with. Maybe somebody will come, maybe Uncle George will come through, and boy, he was a hardcore such and such, and you just couldn't stand him politically. But here he is showing up to your reading, and he's going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff that you don't really care to hear about. But it's not negative or evil. It's just who he was as a person. And maybe there are people that are negative or evil that will come through. Again, I've recounted that kind of stuff before as well. There are people that come through that were bad people, or we viewed as bad or morally incorrect. And it's not your job to judge those people. It's just your job to listen to them and bring through with the best clarity that you can the message that they want to bring. Lenny says, "What does it mean, Scotty, when I'm listening to someone speaking, and sometimes I think of a word in particular event that person is going to say next for the next few seconds, and I'm not trying to do it." So, Lenny, you may have ADHD. And ADHD is a great precursor to those people who are psychic or have mediumship abilities. In my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but I myself again am ADHD diagnosed, and all the people that I talk to that are like me have some degree of some sort of ADHD. Pretty amazingly. So what's happening with your ADHD brain is you are trying to recognize patterns and put them together faster than the person who is relaying the information to you, which is something that might be happening with you right now with me. What is going on though, and how I keep all of you ADHD squirrels in your attention, is the things that are happening behind me. So what I learned is people who are like me, who are mediums and psychics and have these empathy abilities and all these other cool things, is we get bored easy. And watching somebody on a phone or on a tablet or even a TV can get boring for us. So I've added in extra layers of things for you guys to stay interested in, such as freaking lasers and a background that changes time to time. And what this does is it helps you pay attention to me, but when you get bored of listening to me, but you still really do want to listen, you can zone off and watch my lasers for a minute, and then you come back to what I was saying. So your ADHD is just trying to recognize patterns and stay ahead of the curve and understand what's happening. Right, exactly. Liliana nailed it. So basically, also what's happening is I believe that this extreme ability of pattern recognition allows us to very quickly tap into those things that are happening beyond everybody else's vision. So if you have all of these things, you actually have a superpower that's just waiting to be opened. So that's another reason why you're probably really interested in the things that I have to say, because in your life you've known that you have some precognizance, you have some ability to know something before it happens. You knew the phone was going to ring, you knew a certain set of circumstances exactly how something was going to end up, and sometimes that turns into intuition, and you listen to it so well that the pattern recognition of all the things in your world, even the things you're not aware of, are being taken into consideration in your subconscious, and it is bringing you information that you have. So yeah, we have more synapses. Yeah, I synapse like crazy. That's why I drink a lot of caffeine. Do you read tarot too? I'm trying to learn it. He says, yeah, I do. Where are my tarot cards? Normally I have my tarot. Oh, they're right here. They're by the freaking laser. Oh, we read tarot around here too. Again, it's not like my strong suit. It's not something I'm like. I don't pride myself on being like a super duper good tarot reader, but I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. So if anybody wants to learn tarot card reading, our friend, I don't see her in here tonight. She might have been busy or working. Twin Crows Tarot. If you want to learn anything about tarot card reading, Twin Crows Tarot is my tarot card reader. If I need some cards read, that's who I go to. She's fantastic, and she really knows what she's talking about. She teaches it, so if you want to learn, that's who you go to as well. And then if you just want a tarot card reading, Twin Crows Tarot is who I go see. She's lots of empathy and sympathy, lots of amazing information and knowledge, very intuitive, just all the right things to make a really great tarot card reader. So yeah. Let's see. A lot of times I'll have a random conversation with someone, and within 24, that exact thing happens. Yeah, that's so. I know that you probably aren't like thinking of it, but when those things are happening, write it down. So even like if you wrote like, I talked about my friend and my friend and I talked about their dog, and I brought up like, "Hey, is your dog like feeling better?" And they're like, "Oh, my dog is fine." And then the next day, you find out that the dog is not feeling well. Write that down in your journal, even though it is something that you found out after and didn't write down. This is going to help you understand that there is some confidence to be built. So when you say things like, "Yo, yesterday I talked about the dog being sick, and today she called me and told me the dog is sick," so even though I didn't write it down and show her, I know that that happened. So let me write that down, because that's going to help me in the future know, like, I said on Tuesday and then on Wednesday it happened, right? So this will help you in your head a lot. Like maybe next week or some other time you're going to be like, I feel like I should tell my brother about a flat tire. And then you write down, it's Tuesday, and you're like, flat tire, brother. You just write those simple words, and then the next day he gets a flat tire. You can call him and be like, hey, listen, I probably should have warned you. But I think you might get a flat tire. And you might say, I had a flat tire yesterday. How'd you know that? And there you go. And that's how you do it. All right, PJ, good luck. Oh, sorry, Terry. That's okay. You can watch it on the replay. Do you consider your tarot a crutch similar to the Ouija board? I do. For me, that's the way that it works. Um, with tarot card reading, it's just intuitiveness, basically, and the cards are a good way for me to explain to you with some imagery why I feel the way that I do. So I could tell you, in the future you're gonna have three options to pick for a job that's coming up, or there's three romantic, whatever it is. I might say, and you'd be like, okay, I guess. And but if I showed you like the lovers and the three of rods, and then the two of cups, I could say, all right, you see these cards? This is what they mean to me, and you might be a little bit more visually stimulated and understanding to the message that's coming through with just those cards out in front of you. Picked at random, of course. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's how it works. Yep, and the cards do come with a book of meanings and stuff like that for you. So if you buy yourself a set of tarot cards, generally they come with a nice book that tell you what all of the meanings mean, what all the cards mean. There's a lot to learn, but once you learn it, it's pretty nice. I don't know it all. I think it would take many years to learn all of it. Again, Twin Crows Tarot. She knows it inside and out, and she can walk you right through it, teach it to you, and she can also get you a good reading, which is nice. Okay, so Jerry's saying, good night, great session. Good night, Jerry. Thanks for hanging out with us. Um, I have a great trainer set. I love it. Excellent. Don't sit on it too long, though. Learn it as best you can. Oh, it just got flurry. Dizzy. Blurry? Did I just have a stroke? Did it just get blurry for everybody? That was weird. Hope I'm not. I hope I'm not going down. Um, so anyway, don't spend too much time on the trainer set. It's good to learn it and to know it, but then what is important is that you are sitting with you and sitting with your friends and family and acquaintances and doing the readings with the real cards, because the only way to build confidence is by knowing that you're going down the right road with the real thing. Okay. I woke up one morning thinking about the big Bowser from Sha-Na Na. No idea why, but then 2 days later I found out the Scream Scott Simon passed. Oh my goodness, see? Isn't that weird? That was just me who got blurry. Okay. Camera one, camera two. Camera one, camera two. All right, they're both working good. So PJ says you should never loan out your cards, and whoever is getting the reading should shuffle a few times to get their energy. So, one, yeah, I don't give my cards to anybody to use them. Number two, I don't give my cards to anybody to touch them, because I used to give my cards to people when I do readings. I'd be like, all right, go ahead and shuffle them, and they're still recovering from the last lady who did that. She took them, and like she was a Vegas card shark, she took them, and then she cut them, and then she did that thing that you do with playing cards, and she bent the crap out of them. And I had to put them under a. I had to be like very calm, be like, "Thank you for doing that." Then when I got home, I had to be very careful. I'd take a really heavy book and then put it on top of them to flatten them all back out. yeah, that was really, so I don't let anybody touch them anymore because, um, you know, my idea of what shuffling the deck around and yours are two different things. So don't hand your cards out, or if you're going to do it, say, hey, don't them. They're not 99-cent playing cards. They're expensive. Some might say I make a living with them. Yeah. There you go. That's a good way to do it, Brenda. My favorite deck is the Robin Wood deck. I don't think I know those, but I will check them out. I have a lot of decks of cards. You folks have sent me a lot of decks of cards. I've picked up a lot of my own. I have all kinds of cards. I like them. But anyways, it is 10 o'clock. Look at that. The hour flew by. So I hope that all of you enjoyed your Wednesday night, 9 p.m. session with me about your mediumship and psychic abilities. I hope that you learned some more stuff tonight. If there are things that you want me to teach you about and you have very specific questions, your fans and super fans, see all you guys have all these little donuts next to your names. Put in your when this video is done and the live is done and it's posted, maybe tomorrow morning, come here again, and in the regular chat comments, in the regular comment section, just write like, hey, I would like to learn about X, Y, and Z. And what I'll do is I will start building classes built on the things that you really want to hear more about, things that you want me to elaborate on, things that you need more confidence building. And if you have an idea of something that you might like me to teach you about more in depth, and it's not going to fit in the comment section, of course, go to the Discord whether you're in the YouTube Discord or in our special fans and super fans Discord. You can just go in there and write like, hey, I really want to know about X, Y, and Z. Can you please elaborate on this? You said this. Can you please help me understand better what you're talking about? Those are the reasons that we do this, because I want to make you good at this. I want to make you proficient at it, and I want to help you along as best I can. Okay, because this is a special thing that we can do as people, and it shouldn't be gate kept and all that stuff. We should all just be able to get the information, ask somebody who knows what they're doing, or at least thinks they know what they're doing, right? Or at least somebody who has really good intentions about it, and then learn and build together, because I'm not done learning. I have a lot to go. I'm still at the tip of the iceberg here, and we're still learning and building and getting better and better. No matter how much experience I have under my belt, I'm always learning something new, and I want you to have that as well. Okay, so don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't compare yourself to the really big mediums on TV and social media. Don't compare yourself to me. Compare yourself to you. Are you better than you were yesterday? And if not, tomorrow's another day. We'll get there. Okay, with that, everybody, it is nice to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate you. What's tomorrow? Thursday? We'll see. Maybe tomorrow night I'll be able to do those spirit-led mediumship readings. I hope so. And with that, it's time for me to go. Got to get to work. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. Peace and peppermint. Have a great night.